take place based on that. Implementation shall also be taking place based on that. So this is the recent activity that I am involved in. Before that, I have worked in power system planning, as has been stated here. And I was also involved in the regulatory affairs and many other construction projects also in my whatever career I had with Powergrid and also in ATPC. The subject which was chosen for me to speak was regulatory approval of ISTS schemes and tariff aspects related to the state-related regulatory aspects in generation, transmission, and distribution. I understand from the I was given a list of participants, all of you, and I noted that generally all of you are from the state utilities. So there is no one from say Powergrid or ATC or any of such, or NHPC for that. So first of all, let me tell you there are two subjects that I want to talk about. One is regulatory approval of ISTS schemes and tariff aspects. Both the subjects are widely distant from each other, though both are covered in as a part of regulations only. When I say regulatory approval of ISTS schemes, it means that when ISTS, do you understand what is ISTS?
Interstate transmission.
What does it mean?
Interstate means when the transmission line within the state, it is the interstate, and when the transmission line between the states, it is the interstate.
Right. I'll elaborate the second part of it. When it is interstate, it is definitely an interstate ISTS transmission system, but all those lines which aid interstate exchange of power are also termed as ISTS. Okay. So precisely you have got the idea of it. I'll now speak as to how the approval takes place. But before that, forgetting everything wherever you are involved and just focusing on very logical aspects of the power sector, let us take a look at this subject. As is provided in our constitution, the power is listed in the concurrent list of the activities to be taken by center or state. Both can become involved simultaneously or severally also. It is listed as in the concurrent list at item number 38. Okay, this is one of the places that creates a lot of synchronicity in actions, and also at the same time it creates diverse views, because center's opinion may be one and state opinions may be one. So in a way it's a very diverse subject. Therefore at all times consultations between center and state is continuously required. There are aspects when the central regulations are somewhat different than the state, but it should never so happen that the state regulations are going in sort of a opposition with that of the state. So they have to be concurrently flowing. I am mentioning this aspect because you yourself will find in your activities, gamut of activities, that there can be certain differences which may be taking place between one and another. The present laws, which is the electricity law being governed today, that is active today.
Open access.
There is one part. Presently, it is called electricity laws have been in existence in our countries right since 1908. Okay, 1908 was the first electricity law that came in force in our country. It was revised in 1948, and in 2003 it had to be revised again. I'll briefly state why all these things happen. Society is never stationary. It's a dynamic process. What changes? What changes is your ambition changes. The way you want to live, that changes. You want to seek more education, better living, better comforts, better transport for yourself. These are the activities which bring in change in the society itself. Due to that, what happens is more and more gadgets and equipments get get installed within your house or outside. For example, in 1908, we almost had no electricity in the country, very little. But with process of time, the pace of it is of electrification has accelerated, and by the time we became independent, we had little more than 1,000 megawatt of installed capacity within the country, which has grown to gigawatts scale today. But what has changed is your aspiration for seeking more and more access to the energy. Okay, so due to that, what happened in 1991 was the process of liberalization has taken place. Okay, that was in March 1991. Budget was announced, and due to which lot of activities which hitherto were as if stagnant, they had picked up. But there was no adequate framework in any of the sectors due to which these could have a stationary existence within the country, which actually propelled into revision of several laws. One of the revisions which took place was in electricity laws. And due to that, what happened was that whatever used to be very expensive at one point of time, which is the generation, that was made free. Anyone can come and participate. Free means anyone come and participate. It was B license. Earlier it was licensed. That was why you'll find that number 2 generation is B license. But once you have anything here, first thing that you have to do in the country is you have to have a very firm electricity policy, and at the same time when the electricity policy was spelled out, the need was felt to also draft a tariff policy. These two they are still existing today, and they define the framework and the basic theme as to how the progress should be. Okay, this is the basic essence of it. Generation got B license, which used to why was it B license? Because generation was a very heavily cost intensive activity. So it was made free that anyone can come and participate, then they can have their generation. But for power gets generated, okay, somebody else is doing that. But you need to transmit it. Transmit it to whom? Consumers. So all these activities were given different framework, and therefore it was found appropriate to vertically disintegrate the three functions of generation, transmission and distribution as separate financial activities. Okay. Transmission, distribution and trading were identified as licensed activities. They are definitely separated. Trading also got introduced as a separate business entity and a separate activity. Open access to transmission, as our friend was mentioning, that generation, it was relicensed that anybody can come and install the generation capacity, but it needs to be transported, the power needs to be transferred to the respective consumers, for which open access is offered. At the same time, in order to have a proper shape that the entire sector should flow into a confluence, regulatory commissions were formed, and they were given a appellate body so that the appeals of the respective commissions can be properly lodged with the appellate body and discharged with the appropriate orders or the judgment. The next body, next to appellate is Supreme Court only. Okay, so all the appellate bodies have got the High Court powers as far as within jurisdiction of electricity laws. Tariff policy states that in view of the approach laid down by NEP means National Electricity Policy, prior agreement with the beneficiaries would not be a precondition for network expansion. What does this mean? If you want to have if you have got a plan, first of all, if you have got a transmission plan, prior approval of the beneficiaries would not be a precondition. What you have to do is you can directly take up this activity of network expansion plan to a body. Where will you go? Was Central Electricity Regulatory Commission as far as ISTS are concerned. There is no such law. There is no such law for having a network expansion within a state. It is only prevalent in ISTS. Regulatory approval is a term specific to ISTS expansion only. So there is any network expansion which can take place has to be done by CTU only, and that too interstate transmission systems only. So electricity plan was very specific in that, but it also made a condition that that network plan will be carried out only in consultation with the stakeholders. Stakeholders here means that you have to talk to consumer bodies, you have to also talk with the planning bodies, and also the generation will be licensed. So all the agencies which are involved in such type of generation, which is actually taking this, which is requiring this expansion plan, will also form a stakeholder. So you have to take everybody into consultation process, and then once it is formed up, you can seek a regulatory approval. Regulatory approval term is specific to CRC only. Please note this. Okay. No other state has any such regulation through which you can take up a network expansion.